Right then, Manchester United against Arsenal tomorrow. Massive game. The first big test of Arsenal's season. They've played 5 teams. They should have beaten them. They've beaten the 5 teams that they should have beaten. And they think they're going to win the league. Manchester United, meanwhile, have faced 5 teams of varying degrees of difficulty. And actually, apart from the 2 that we lost, managed to make the team that we should have comfortably beat look like one of the more tricky ones. And there could be loads of different motivations and reasons for that. But as it stands, Manchester United won 3, lost 2. Arsenal have scored at least 2 goals in their last 5 Premier League matches, and obviously they've won all of those. But United are undefeated in 17 of our last 19 home games against Arsenal in all competitions. Doesn't feel like that, to be honest with you, but that's the stats. So how are they going to play? How are these brilliant revolutionary signings, and certainly not City reserves, that Arteta's brought in, going to play against United on Sunday? So when he's got all of his players available, Arteta loves the old 4-2-3-1 formation. That's where they try and be structured and regimented out of possession, as they've been in the years gone by. When going forward, it's quite full throttle. They go 2-4-4 quite often. It's a very aggressive shape, but it can also them a lot of defensive stability, because they sort of try to own the centre zones of the pitch and force opposition to go wider. And even when Arsenal do become exposed in the wide areas, which does happen to them, the balance that they've got centrally offers them a little bit of a degree of protection. Arsenal look to create overloads in the wider areas themselves when they get in possession and when they get on the ball. They love the little passing combinations before switching it wide to an isolated flank. And whoever is playing defensive midfield is usually positioned purely to stop the opposition counter-attack by sitting in, allowing the fullbacks to get themselves forward and be a little bit more adventurous when they get into the final third. They do like to get inside fullbacks. They do like to narrow in a little bit around the box, and they like to try and find nice little angled passes and through balls into the box where they can hurt you, or they like the pullbacks or the very low-driven crosses if they do manage to hit the byline. Defensively, they like to high press. They set up high and aggressive on opposition goal kicks. They try and go man-to-man to force the opposition teams to go long, and then they take their chances recovering the ball in their own half or going for the second ball. Predicted 11, it seems like Odegaard is going to be a doubt after coming off injured against Villa. Partey is likely to be out, according to reports. So it should be Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Tierney, Xhaka, Lokonga, Smith-Rowe, Saka, Martinelli and Jesus. The star man is probably Gabriel Jesus at the moment. 3 goals, 3 assists for him in 5 games at the start of the season. He started really brightly. I don't think he's that great, in all honesty. I think he'll settle down to the level that we've seen of him since he's been at City. And when you consider the business that City managed to do, they let this guy go for 47 million and brought in Haaland for 54 million. Who do you think got the better deal here? He's had a very good start to the season. He can be a little bit of a nuisance. He's trying to do a bit too much. I think if he stayed more centrally and more in the on the opposition centre halves, he'd probably be even more of a threat. But it looks like he's trying to get all over the place, and I think that's probably a mistake. He does know how to sniff out a chance and an opportunity. But if you do shut him down, I think you've got a good chance of stopping Arsenal scoring goals. For Manchester United, the starting 11 that I want to go with is as follows. I still think it'll be De Gea, but I actually think you might see Dubravka within the next couple of weeks, certainly with the Europa League games that we've got coming up. I think he's going to feature in one of those. So De Gea in net for the moment. I think the back four at the moment cannot be changed, and that is Malacia, Dalot, Varane and Martinez. I think Casemiro starts this one. A little bit of a surprise to see him not start against Leicester, but I think he definitely starts. He looked great when he came on against Leicester, so I'm sure he's going to start in this one. And then it starts getting interesting, doesn't it? Eriksen. The quality that he possesses on the ball has been an absolute shock. I think he has to start against Arsenal. Bruno Fernandes. I think he was good in the second half against Leicester. I thought Eriksen was great in the first half, but Bruno sort of took over in the second half. Maybe Leicester switched their focus to trying to mark Eriksen out of the game a little bit or stop him playing. And this is where it gets interesting for me, is the wing areas. I think United's most potent attack would be Sancho, Antony, and Cristiano Ronaldo. I think that would be our best attack to go with. And that's what's going to yield the most amount of goals. Star man in this setup, I'd love to sit here and say it's going to be Antony. He's going to have a blistering start to his Old Trafford career. I think it's probably going to be Bruno Fernandes. His ball retention will be vital. You don't need Arsenal countering against you. They do counter very well. His quality of pass is going to be important. I would expect United's final balls to be coming from him, which means that he's got to be looking after them and making sure he's getting it in the right area. He is the link between the midfield and the attack. It can't be breaking down on him. If he's on it, he could easily win us the game by operating in behind their midfield, especially with no Partey being there. I think that's an area of the pitch he can exploit, and he can kick on from what was a pretty strong performance, certainly in the second half against Leicester. How do you beat this Arsenal team? I think you hit them on the counter a little bit. They like to counter, and I think United look like they're set up to counter quite well. Because Arsenal like to get forward, because they like to go that 2-4-4 sort of formation, and they try to be very structural when they're in the opposition half, I think you can get in behind them. I think United have the pace to get in behind them. And I think Antony could be a massive key to this. I will be looking to switch it outright very often. Sancho doesn't often run in behind as much as you would hope he does. He likes to dribble into that space rather than chase a ball into that space. But they attack in such numbers that they're going to give you a chance. If you can hit them on a transition, they're going to give you a chance. Once you beat that press as well, running at their midfield, you can actually play through the midfield. And if United play like they played against Leicester with some of the one-touch football, some of the build-up play that they had against Leicester, you're going to pass through Arsenal's midfield. I think you're going to have to trust yourself playing out. I certainly trust the back four currently than I would have done 12 months ago. Have to be brave, know when to go long and go direct and try and split the fullback and centre half and find the gaps in that sort of area. If you can leave Arsenal 1v1, if you can certainly leave Antony 1v1 against Tierney, he's going to get past him at least once, and then he's just got to be productive when he does that. We don't necessarily have the personnel to go for a direct and long ball game over the course of 90 minutes. So I think a varied attack from United, build it up and go long, switch it, and then try and press high at times and win the ball high up the pitch. I think there's a lot of different ways you can hurt this Arsenal side, and I think there's a lot of different ways that United could find match winners in there. And one of the other things I would do is I'd try and force them wide a little bit. Play narrower, overload that midfield pivot that they have, overwhelm that midfield pivot, give their fullback something to think about, especially if Sancho is going to be on the left and it is Antony on the right. Get the ball to their feet, try and get them 1v1 versus those fullbacks. They're dangerous when they attack narrow centrally with the technical players that they've got, so you need to be compact. And I think if you've got Casemiro sitting in front of Varane and Martinez, I back us to do that. And that's where I think the game could be won and lost. I think Martinez and Varane have had excellent games so far. This is going to be a pretty big test for them against Arsenal. Absolutely flying, full of confidence. It's not quite October yet, so I'm not fully expecting the wheels to come off Arsenal, but I think we can give them a bloody nose, and I think we can come away with the 3 points. I wouldn't read too much into no matter what happens in this game, positive or negative. Arsenal could win this, they could also lose this. It's going to be October when their season unravels. If United can pick up another win here, we could go as high as third if results go our way. And I think that's an excellent turnaround to what was a bit of a shaky start at the start of the season. I want to know in the comments who's going to win this game. I want to know who you guys think is going to be the difference. Who's your man of the match? Early calls. Let's go for it. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.